I had the romantic idea of going on the road, bring my music to the world. In reality, I didn't play it that much because I was always composing new composition, and gradually I lost my interest in being on stage myself. And now I am in the situation where I really would like to play again in public. When you're sharing this concentration, you really feel something is happening. You know, it's, I start loving this more and more. I'm going to play pieces from the 80s and the early 90s, when I was much younger than I am today. At that time, we started the group Minimalist, which, like the name itself says already, it was based on minimal music, of course. I felt that using these minimal techniques of using little cells that were developing in a contrapuntal way helped me to find my own language, because this steady rhythm going on was like the solution for me. And in this specific minimal language, I found a kind of narrative way to telling stories in a system that was really reduced. 5 to 5 was actually my very first composition. Until then I had playing the classical repertoire, and I've been improvising a lot at that time. Originally we played it with 6 musicians, and we have been touring a lot with that. I think we must have played it 100 times. And afterwards I still made a string quartet version of it also, an orchestral version of it, and finally also a piano solo version. Of course, you have to imagine, it is very contrapuntal music, so there are lots of lines, voices, crisscrossing through each other. When you have to bring all this material, all these lines, into the shape of 10 fingers, you know, it becomes like hyper-pianistic. Well, when I started practicing the piece, it took me a long time before I came to a kind of playing where all these interweaving lines came out quite naturally. I really love it. The ping-pong Preludes are my second string quartet, it's Desire. This was the beginning of the love story with my wife, who is still my wife today. You know how it is in the beginning. It's very intense. Musically speaking, this piece is the piece in which I kind of liberated myself from a kind of obsession with pulse and rhythm, and I certainly got rid of all reference to minimal music. Pianistically speaking, it is a tough piece to play, for different reasons now. Because inside the music, there are again contrasting elements now of different natures, a disequilibrium, you know. Unstable music, not in a bad sense. Nox Etna was originally intended to be a piano concerto, so piano and orchestra. Then I decided to put everything in one quite mastodontic piano piece. Definitely the most difficult piece I've ever played, the most complex, but on the other hand also an entry of a kind of dramatic feeling in my music. I always had the intention not to be dramatic. The first Gulf War was taking place. We were not used to it yet. It had an enormous effect on me. I was seeing really the dark side of life, and I was afraid for my children and what would happen and everything. This dark side certainly entered the music and was also responsible for the title, which was Nox Etna, the eternal night. In Nox Etna, there are some of the most violent passages I've ever written, the loudest passages also. Very much fun to play, you know, like... I must say that I play them each time differently. The first note already you play, and it asks for something else, and so it gives me a lot of freedom to go back, to revisit these compositions and to play them with the feelings I have today. Now I have a completely different vision of a concert. I start improvisation. I improvise and my pieces come and go inside this improvisation. It's a kind of exchange between music that is invented at the spot and rhythm music, which is a very comfortable way for me to be on stage. Also, I don't like to interrupt my performances. I really like to create an atmosphere that takes the people like 45 minutes, and then you can take a break, and then again we go for, it's like a long voyage.